Hi everybody, real quick before we get into the video, we're doing a quick giveaway, a sweepstakes to 3 very lucky people. We're going to be giving away a copy of Stu's book, How to Get a Meeting with Anyone, and Randy's book, How to Sell Anything to Anybody, to 3 very lucky people that send us an email of their worst prospecting experience. You can just email us at unmissedconnections@timetrade.com. Emails here, unmissedconnections@timetrade.com. Would love to hear it. Let's get to the interview. Deal. Well, hi everybody, Stu. Thank you so much. We have Stu Heinecke here on the show. We're going to be doing a quick interview. Stu, who you may know, has written this amazing book, How to Get a Meeting with Anyone. You're also a you've been doing cartoons for the Wall Street Journal for a period of time. Really hilarious cartoons, by the way. So thank you so much for jumping in.
You said that, by the way. Thank you.
Yeah, no, they're really funny, but thank you so much for joining in. You're actually our first host on the show, so we're really excited to start talking to you. And your real step forward has been all about contact marketing. Can you tell us what is contact marketing?
It's really a hybrid of marketing and sales, or sales and marketing. It's where sales and marketing meet, because these are what we're doing is employing campaigns that are designed to help, specifically to help achieve contact with very, very important prospects and accounts. So these campaigns are just focused on that. It could be a campaign of one even. Yeah. So it's just about getting through to the people that can make all the difference in the world to you in terms of your scale. The scale of your career or your business really ends up being the scale of your life.
And that's really what you're specifying in this book, the idea of how to get a meeting with anybody. It's really all about hyper-focusing that connection that you're trying to make with that prospect, correct?
Yeah. It's getting their attention in a way that they can't resist connecting with you. And you know, the thing that's really interesting about contact marketing is that, you know, I just said that it's sort of a hybrid of marketing and sales, but it is a form of marketing. And I've been involved in other forms of marketing, and you know, I've never seen the kinds of response rates and ROI figures that this sometimes creates. What I was about to say, you know, this goes as high as 100%, and that's what happens. The campaigns, I mean, the response rates are going as high as 100%. The highest ROI that I know of to a contact campaign is 3.5 million%, which is a crazy number. I don't even know how to understand that, actually. I mean, 100% I understand, you know, but 3.5 million is like, what does that mean? So, but what, you know, what's come out just over the weekend as I've finished the manuscript and I read through all the new chapters, and I realized, well, actually, we can now start to set 100% as our baseline. And we do that through some persistence campaigns. There's some additional elements to these campaigns now, but particularly one that's sort of a digital persistence campaign. Really cool stuff using geo fencing and retargeting and so forth. Nice. To sort of soften them up, and get them saying, "Wow, who are these people?" And then when whatever it is that you're doing to connect with them comes through, it could even be just a phone call. They're already saying, "Now I've heard of you. I've seen you advertised on the Wall Street Journal and you know, and wow. New York Times. So who are you guys?" Those kinds of things. So what I'm seeing is that 100% response rate should now be our baseline, which is a crazy statement.
Bold.
It's like
That's
saying,
pretty nuts. Yeah.
Well, it's kind of like saying, also, I saw a UFO this weekend.
Hey, some people do.
Because I think we can use things like virtual reality soon. I mean, imagine, Randy, what would it be like if you could send a pair of VR goggles to someone with a note that says, "Hey, join me. Let's jump off the cliff at Ålesund Fjord in Norway, and we'll just jump off together. And when we get down to the bottom, I want to talk to you about time."
That actually, I love it. First of all, I have vertigo, so that's not cool.
I think I want to talk to you about anything.
Yeah, right. But so when you're talking about, I mean, you're mentioning geofencing and whatnot. I mean, do you have an example of what contact marketing, like an example that someone can understand? Because I know we spoke through it, but is there anything you can show or explain through that would really explain what contact marketing represents?
Sure. And once again, you know, I mean, what it is primarily is we're using usually, let's say, audacious means, certainly clever means, to break through to someone so that they say, "Man, I love the way you think," right? So but we can soften that up now. We can use things like geofencing that you were just asking about it.
Yeah.
So geofencing is this process where you can draw a line, like going on a Google map. You draw a line around the building that you want to target. So then you run your ad to anyone in the building.
Mm-hmm. That's
so whenever they're on the web, whenever they're playing games, whatever they're doing on their mobile device or on their computers, wherever they're visiting, they'll start to see your ads. So let's say that I wanted to soften you guys up, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're using geofencing.
Sure.
Then what I would do is I would probably run an ad that that has my book in it. It would be a display ad. Mm-hmm. So it would have my book in it. It would have a headline that says "One meeting can change anything." Or, sorry, one meeting can change everything, because it can. We know it can.
Sure.
And then there's a link, let's say, to the book, to Amazon. Well, that's okay. If you go to buy the book, that's great. But what I'm really interested in is not the click-throughs, but the branding value of that. Suddenly, you're seeing my book, and you're seeing this statement that one meeting can change everything. And I think it's the kind of statement that any of us would nod yes to. Mm-hmm. So you're seeing that, and you're seeing it on the Wall Street Journal, you're seeing it on the New York Times, you're seeing it all over the place. And so suddenly I look like this big national advertiser, when in fact all I'm doing is advertising to your building.
Yeah, right.
That's not too bad, right? It's not going to be too expensive. There are other technologies that will allow you to do it. You can actually use third-party pixels and target just that one person.
That's right.
Or you can discover, the people around them, the influencers around them, or who their bosses are, who their supporters are, and target just those people. So you look like this huge advertiser. You look like a very, very, you impress them. That's really the point. You impress them and you create awareness, so that by the time you've reached out, in my case, maybe I'd send a big board, a big cartoon piece or something. But whatever it is you're sending would have a lot of impact, a lot more impact, because they already know about you. And if that continues, there's sort of this persistence effect. There's another interesting campaign that one fellow used. He wanted to get a job with. He was at an ad agency. He's a copywriter, and he wanted to get a job at one of the top ad agencies in Manhattan. And he got the names of the creative directors, and he took out. So he bought their first and last names as Google AdWords, and bid like 10 cents on them per click, and and target it by zip code. So really, the only person who's ever going to see this is these creative directors if they Google themselves. And so they're running this ad, or he's running this ad that says, "Hey, let's say if you were one of the creative directors, Chris, it would say, 'Hey, Chris Carroll, it's fun to Google your name. It's also fun to hire Alec Brownstein.'" And then there's a link to his portfolio.
Yeah.
Well, this thing resulted in contact with 6 of the 7.
Wow.
So they are Googling their names. 6 of them connected with him.
Yeah.
3 of them interviewed him, and 1 of them hired him.
Wow.
This campaign cost him $5.
Wow.
To run.
To get a job to change his life. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yes, it does.
I remember it brings me, when I read your book for the first time and started hearing about some of the examples we talked about when we ran that webinar together, it reminds me of when I was in San Francisco. I was doing a lot of interviewing, and one day I got a package that showed up at my door, and I opened it up, and it was a baseball. And this woman that was going to be interviewing with me the following day, she wrote on the baseball in pen, she wrote, "Can't wait to throw you my pitch." And to this day, I still have that baseball.
That's pretty good.
It was, because I got it. It made me chuckle. She cut through the clutter.
Yeah.
And how much was a baseball? $2.99 or something. And
plus 6 to ship.
Yeah, a few bucks. And now I still to this day at my house have that baseball because it's just something I've never gotten rid of because it gives me a chuckle. It reminds me of her creativity. Yeah.
Look at what one guy sent me. This is just a block of wood.
Yeah.
Just wrote my name on it, wrote my name and address on it, put some postage on it, and sent it. And I'm holding it. It's in the book. It's in the subhead of the book. So those little, you don't have to spend lots of money to do this. You can, and you can have a lot of effect. But you can also buy a $2.98 baseball and autograph it to. And that's just great.
Yeah, I think something you said earlier, it's about getting people to say, wow, I like the way you think, because, there's a lot of salespeople out there, BDRs, SDRs, AEs, and, they don't control the marketing budget or have sometimes enough influence to get their marketing department to do geofencing. But, and they don't even need to send anything in the mail. But if they can get really creative in their subject lines or in their content, somehow to cut through the clutter to make that contact, that's, I think, what you really have to think about today. It's how can I be different?
Yeah.
The reaction that we really want to get out of people is to have them say, whoa, hey, come here, take a look at this. So when they start sharing your campaign, then you have the opportunity to get even more than 100% response.
Yeah.
Which is, I know. So we might as well just say that I live in a spaceship now. I'm in a UFO.
We're talking about business cards. We're talking about mailing baseballs. We're talking about sending a block of wood. I mean, we did, and we did talk about doing hyper-focused PPC ads, but I mean, a lot of the stuff, it is kind of old school when people look at it. So a lot of people don't like to approach something when there's a newer technology that they think is cheaper that can achieve goals. I mean, what do you think about using it versus this new school versus old school kind of approach?
Well, yeah, a great question, and my blood was starting to boil when you said it. Oh, God, there it is again.
It's the millennial
side of it. Here's the thing. Because I've had all kinds of reactions to the book, to how to get a meeting with anyone.
Yeah.
So a lot of people love it. They've used it. They've changed a lot of people have changed their results as a result of reading it. But some people say, oh, it's just old school. It's sending things through the mail or through FedEx or and I would say that's incredibly ignorant. I don't know what else to. Well, let's say inexperienced. Naive.
Yeah.
So because to me that says, well, this is someone who's only been exposed to one, let's say, regime of marketing, right? Because we go through these. Randy and I have been around, right? We've been around long enough to know there are these different regimes that keep coming up. I mean, not that long ago, no digital advertising existed. Television, radio, and were the big thing, and then direct response and so on. And really, I would say that if somebody's looking at someone sending this block of wood, right?
Yeah.
And saying that's old school, or here's Kevin Mitnick's. I've got to make sure I get it right. I guess that's the right. Kevin Mitnick's business card. It's a lockpick set. Hey, call that old school or new school. I don't care. Just call it. What we want to know is what
effective.
Works. Use what works.
Yeah, what works. I was just going to say, that's all as a sales guy, that's all I care about. I don't care. You call it anything you want. As long as it's getting me contact with people, that's what I care about.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's it. And I would say anybody who's saying, oh, that's old school, they're probably someone who's been entrenched in their careers for maybe 5 years, and all they know is digital marketing. But I would tell them that, SEO and email, and unless you're talking about geofencing or some of the newer things, that's all conventional marketing at this point.
Yeah.
Grow up, look
exactly.
around and see what works and use it. That's really the message too.
That's it. You know what we're doing? Billboards.
There you go.
Billboards are next.
Yeah. I tried to do radio advertisements earlier in my career for something I was doing with a friend, and I remember them telling me, I kept thinking they were trying to upsell me because they wanted me to place multiple spots, but I realized that what they explained to me is that with radio, the only way it can really be effective is if people hear it multiple times, and they need to, the brain, they need to hear it repetitively a few times so they can memorize the jingle or at least memorize the phone number or whatever it is. And once I understood that now, and you said it a few minutes ago, when people think you're like this big, huge advertiser because they're seeing you everywhere, and you're really just spending a few bucks to do very targeted advertising, but it's so that it's, whether it's old school, new school, the bottom line is you got to do what works. You've got to repetitively get them thinking about you. And so whether it's coming through different mediums or the same medium multiple times or the less crowded channels so that you actually cut through the clutter, the bottom line is you have to make a difference, and you have to make them be aware of your existence, right? So whether it's a block of wood or 3 radio spots, whatever's going to do the trick, that's what you got to do. There was this was just 2 weeks ago. I was standing at my desk and I got an email from a company that did a pretty aggressive email to me where, and I won't get into the details of it, but it got me to say like, wow. And I stood up at my desk and I read it to someone over my desk. And as I was reading it, Lauren Mead, our CMO, was walking by going to a conference room with someone else. And she looked over and she goes, They wrote to me today too, and it was different, but it was also kind of got a mouth-dropping reaction. And so before you knew it, to your point earlier, Stu, you said you want someone not just to say, hey, I like the way you think, but to tell someone else that they like the way you think.
Yeah.
And before you knew it, this company not only was using kind of a unique messaging or unique content, but they did it not only to multiple people, but they timed it so they actually got us talking about it. They created this perfect storm where Lauren and I were talking about how cool we thought what they were doing was, and other people heard it, and before you knew it, like 10 people were hearing about. So I got to tell you, it worked. You know
I love the point, because part of this was I was with this new persistence element to contact marketing, the retargeting ads and so on. We shouldn't be. You mentioned 18%. We're saying our baseline should be 18%. Our baseline should now be 100%.
Yeah.
Because what we should be doing is saying, if these are the people who can make all the difference in the world to us, if these are all, if they could all become clients, they'd be dream clients. They would change our market share. They'd change our revenue, right? They change our scale. If you've identified a list of 100 people like that, your top 100 list, and you say, well, 50% is going to be a pretty good response. It will be. That's outrageous. For any form of marketing, that's outrageous. Yeah. But for contact marketing, I now know, I can see it. We need to hold it to a higher standard now, which is our baseline really should be 100%. Yeah. So to your point, Randy, we don't go to 18%. We'll say, well, I've never heard of a campaign going that high. That's pretty cool. Yeah. We should be saying, oh, hell no, we've only gotten 18% of them. That's right. And there's still 72% out. What, did I get that right? No, 82% left that we haven't contacted yet. Sure. That still could be dream clients. We need to get them. Well, I have to start by explaining. When I first started on this next book, I thought, well, the next book should be a series of case studies with photography. Yeah. But how do you shoot? Artificial intelligence? How do you shoot a picture of that? You can't.
Yeah,
there are things that haven't been used yet, and so virtual reality and augmented reality are just we just keep hearing about them. They're just starting to come online. So augmented reality. Are you guys familiar with 19 Crimes Wine?
Yes,
I'm not.
I am. Yep, my mom introduced it to me, and it was awesome. It's you put your phone up against it, and they come to life. Yeah, that's
yes.
Right. Yep.
And so that's so this one, you can see there's a character on there.
Yep.
When you view that through their app, through the Live Wine Labels app, that character starts to talk to you and tell her story. It's outrageous.
Really?
And so we can use those kinds of things. Virtual reality is also just a mind blower because. As I was saying before, it's just in its infancy, so it's still clunky. But you could ship a set of goggles to someone and invite the person to have a meeting with you on the beach in Tahiti. Yeah. Or, as I said, take a leap off the cliff, a base jump off the cliff, this 2,000-foot cliff in Norway. And when we're under parachute, we'll come down, we'll go to this little sandbar, and we'll have a meeting. What I'm seeing is that virtual reality will mature so that we'll be able to produce these kinds of photorealistic experiences that we can deliver on goggles. I was saying goggles like you could do an Oculus Go, which is a couple $100, I think, something like that. Or you could do these cardboard.
The pop-outs. Yeah.
Put your phone in there.
Even then, Stu, somebody will still say that it's old school to get your blood boiling.
Well, Stu, thank you so much for sharing. I mean, this has been a fantastic interview. But before we go, for three very lucky people that are watching this episode, we're going to be giving away Stu's book, How to Get a Meeting with Anyone. And then to continue that, Randy's book, 161 Rules for Selling Anything to Anyone. Three very lucky people are going to win this. All you have to do is send us an email to unmissedconnections@timetread.com. It's on the screen, and we want to hear from you. What is the absolute most ridiculous and worst outreach you've had from a vendor? I want to know the worst. I want
that they've gotten.
That someone's reached out to them with the worst pitch, story, or attempt. We don't need names of who they are.
Can I give one example? It
Of
just
course.
happened today.
Yeah, all
we
right.
got a postcard, and I'm not going to say who it was from.
Yeah.
I don't want to out them, but they invited us to a Red Sox game, and on the big
bad.
mailer, they spelled Red Sox SOCKS.
Oh,
my God.
It's like to Boston, and we're in Boston. We're in Boston. We're killing it right now. So is that an example?
That's a pretty
That's
good
a good-
example. You know what? You just want a copy of your
Oh,
own book.
can I have a copy of my book? And I'll take Stu's book. All right.
You get the
Yeah.
you get the first set.
But 3 very lucky people, just send us your stories. Unmissedconnections@timetrade.com. You guys will win a couple of copies of these books to 3 very lucky people. Stu, thank you again so much for joining, and we hope to have you on again. Everyone, have a fantastic day.
Thanks, Stu.
Thanks so much. See you.